Howdy y'all and welcome back to the channel. Rise of the Planet of the Apes is a movie that was released in 2011 and sort of kicked off the new sequel franchise or trilogy in the Planet of the Apes movie series. This movie, I guess, serves as a prequel to the original Planet of the Apes movies, which I have not seen, mind you, sort of breaking down how exactly the apes took over the planet. With the new Planet of the Apes coming out this May, I thought that it would be a lot of fun to go back and take a look at these movies that I haven't watched in a while. So let me know if you like this video and you want to see me do the other two Apes movies that have been released, I guess, in the new series of films. Now, like I said before, this movie is sort of the first part of a story of how the apes took over the world from the humans. So whenever this movie opens, it just looks like 2011, you know, it's everyday life. But the main character, Caesar, starts to develop, I guess, leadership qualities, if you want to say that. So in case you haven't watched it, the beginning of the movie focuses in on Caesar as a baby ape who's born from a mother that has been experimented on by James Franco's character, a scientist hoping to find a cure to Alzheimer's to help save his father. So Caesar is born with some natural abilities. He's a lot smarter than any other ape, I guess, Will Rodman, the main character, has ever seen. James Franco goes ahead and takes him home and raises him as his father, and Caesar gets himself into a little bit of trouble that unites him with some apes, and he starts to inspire the masses, if you will. Something I really like about this movie is how for the first bit you think James Franco is pretty much the main character because, I mean, he's human, he's a leading man, you know, of course he's going to be the main character, but about midway through you see a shift in Caesar where we are focused in on his story. Will Rodman takes a back seat, and we are honed in on Caesar. Now, the actor that plays Caesar is named Andy Serkis, and if you haven't heard that name, you know his work. He played Gollum / I guess Smeagol in the Lord of the Rings franchise. He played Claw in the Black Panther movie. And those are just a couple of things that he's done. He's been working steadily for several decades at this point. He's an outstanding actor, and a lot of people said whenever this trilogy was released that he should actually be nominated for Best Actor. And I can't really push back against that. Now, I think his performances in the other two movies is better than in Rise of the Planet of the Apes, but I mean, that's like comparing Tom Brady to Joe Montana for all my sports fans. You know, you can't deny the greatness that is Andy Serkis' performance in this first movie. It's just whenever you stack it up against his next two performances as Caesar in that motion capture suit, it's kind of hard to compare it. Yeah, I don't understand how Andy Serkis is so good at playing characters within that motion capture suit. It's really unbelievable. I mean, you remember the clips of, I guess, Benedict Cumberbatch playing Smaug in The Desolation of Smaug, and he looks absolutely ridiculous. Well, that's got to be like the tip of the iceberg for Andy Serkis. Andy Serkis has done it all in that motion capture suit, and he is really amazing as Caesar. Now, going back and watching this movie, I was a little underwhelmed by James Franco's performance. I don't know if it's because he's stacked up against, I guess, better actors or what, but some of his line delivery was a little flat to me. A lot of, I guess, his scenes where, you know, he's fighting the big bad corporation felt like we've seen it before, and it's just so different than what we see in Dawn and War for the Planet of the Apes, where obviously those movies have, I guess, been done before since it's, you know, coming from a franchise in the 60s, but those movies do feel very fresh to the time. There's nothing really quite like those movies being released today, I'll say. Rise of the Planet of the Apes, whenever it comes to the humans, a lot of those stories have been told before, and it just felt a little bit boring, and I just found myself wanting to get back to Caesar and the main plot and point of this movie. Something else that's really astounding to me is how good the visual effects are. Now, there are a couple of times where I was sitting there like, okay, that's a CGI shot, but the monkeys, or I guess apes, look so realistic in this movie, and the big battle sequence on the Golden Gate Bridge at the end is really amazing for what they were able to accomplish 13 years ago. I know that doesn't feel very long, but whenever it comes to visual effects, 13 years is a really, really long time. Now, for the next little bit, I'm gonna get into some slight spoilers, so in case you haven't seen Rise of the Planet of the Apes, go ahead and click off this video, come back after you watch it. I highly recommend it, obviously. But going into some minor spoilers for this movie, it does feel a little different watching it after 2020. Where at the end of the film, we see a pandemic spread. It's like, you know, at the time you understand that things are contagious. This virus from the Alzheimer's cure, I guess, that wasn't a cure, it spreads across the world. You know, that makes sense to us, but having lived through 2020 and seen it firsthand, what it's like whenever a virus spreads, it feels very different watching the ending of this movie because you've actually seen this happen before. Not on as extreme a level where the humans are being completely wiped out, but yeah, I was watching the end credits and I was just kind of taken aback. Something else that's, I guess, kind of spoilery is having watched all three of the movies in this new trilogy, this very much does feel like a first-parter where at the time I really liked the movie, especially that scene where Caesar speaks for the first time. That's amazing. I critiqued James Franco's performance earlier, but his performance in the scene where Caesar actually speaks to him, I thought his reaction was really good, so I gotta give him there. You know, if I'm gonna knock him off, I need to give him his props. He was good in that scene. But the next two movies are just so much better. So I was watching this and I enjoyed the movie, but I was kind of sitting there like, come on, let's get to the really good stuff. Let's get to the Matt Reeves directed movies already. I gave this movie a 3.5 out of 5 stars on my Letterboxd account. It's a really good movie, but it just has me longing for the next iteration in the franchise. And I guess looking forward to the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes movie that's coming out this next month. I'm kind of concerned by the level of quality that's here. Like, I don't know how it's gonna match it, how it's gonna match Caesar's story arc, but obviously I gotta give that movie a chance. I'm looking forward to rewatching Dawn of the Planet of the Apes very soon. But that's everything that I had to say about Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Thank you guys so much for watching the video up to this point. What did you think of the movie? Leave me a comment down below and subscribe if you like this and you want to see more. I'll see you guys next time. Bye, y'all.